Hey friends, welcome back to another exciting episode of TradesTalk. I'm here with Eugene Lee with Love Your Neighbor, a new software that is providing solutions to home service contractors. So Lee, welcome to the show.
Sure. So first of all, thanks, Justin, for inviting me to this podcast. This is actually my first one, and we'll see how many more I'll do after this. But until then, we'll see how this one turns out. Yeah, so for the last 20 plus years, I would say I was a financial planner helping people retire, investments, insurance, uh, helping business owners exit their business and talk strategy about paying as least amount of taxes as possible and things like that. So I did that for 20 years. It was a pretty cush job. Um, After being in it for so long that my hours were pretty much 5 to 10 hours a week. I got to spend a lot of time playing golf, networking with more people, and trying to get more clients, and obviously spending as much time as I can with my kid, volunteering
Right.
at schools and whatnot. So, with that being said, me and a couple guys in my neighborhood got together. Every week we had like a beer and cigars on the driveway, and we just talk about like just guys talk, right? Like, um,
Yeah. Just having
what's
we
going
call them
on?
yard beers, just
Correct,
throwing out
correct,
random ideas.
correct. So like we were all gung ho about doing this burrito place, right? Like we had a name and everything, and it was called Burrito. I mean, if someone takes it, someone takes it. But it was basically like a higher end Chipotle, but real Mexican burritos, right? Like from
Yeah.
breakfast burritos and just regular burritos, right? So we're gung ho about that, and then I'm sitting there and looking at my water pipes on the side of my house, and I'm like, is there anything that's out there right now? If this thing pops, where I can find someone to come over to the house right now. Like if someone doesn't even know how to turn off the main, right? And I'm thinking, what if we created like an app like Uber for contractors that live in a neighborhood? They might be off the clock, but they're down the street where they can come and fix the problem really quick, right? And then the two other guys were like, that might turn into something. Like, why doesn't anything like exist, right? Like, we can have our Starbucks delivered. We can have
Right.
pretty much we don't have to leave the house now to have stuff delivered to the house, right? Groceries, you name it. So I'm like, why can't we have an instant like trades or contractors to come over to the house in an emergency? Like you have to go through their entering service, and it could take a couple of hours before you have anyone show up. But there might be a plumber down the street. You see the truck, go knock on his house and see if they can come over, right? So that turned into an idea. And again, this was more at that time a calling. And I'm like, there's no way I can do anything technology, right? Like I'm barely trying to scrape by. I just switched to a Mac. I'm like, I don't even know how to use this thing. So long story short, I went back to my clients for 20 years and including you, like we raised at this point close to $1.2 million to get to the app where it is today.
Wow.
Um,
Congratulations on
so
that.
yeah, thank you, thank you. So that process has taken about 3 years now. We're almost exactly at 3 years. So yeah, we went from idea to making revenue in 3 years.
Well, first off, congratulations, because it sounds like a lot of the conversations me and my friends have about starting some new business and it's some wild idea, but it never turns into anything. You actually followed through that day, and I've got to imagine you're working 5 to 10 hours a week. I'm gonna assume you're making pretty good money. You got it pretty
Yeah,
well cush set up.
yeah.
What was it like to step away from that world and throw yourself into a tech startup?
It was interesting because it was. I tell this story like, and this is kind of when I knew it was a calling. It was. I got to a point where I don't know how to do tech. I don't know how to do tech. What am I going to do? Um, it got to a point where if I leave my company, and at that time, my wife had just gotten a job as a contractor for Samsung.
Okay.
So, so I was like, I have to go out and look for my own insurance now because being a contractor, there's no benefits at her work. And she told me that she had people on her team that have been contracting with Samsung for 5 years. So there was nothing in the near future that was going to give her something permanent with benefits, right? And that
Right.
was a Friday. That was a Friday, and then I'm shopping around for insurance and things like that for my family, and it was, obviously with the cost of insurance, it's like $1,000 to $2,000 a month for a family of three.
Yeah.
The following Monday, my wife comes home and is like, "Don't freak out, but I just got a full-time offer from Samsung, and Samsung covers the benefits for the entire family."
So that was it. That was
So I'm
like
like,
your green
that
light.
that was my moment. Yeah, that was my green light. And then I got the commitment from people who are like, "I'll write you a check. I'll write you a check. Absolutely, I'll write you a check." So,
Yeah, man. I
and
mean,
then, yeah, just it was pretty crazy.
it's when we first met in Gilroy, right, at the coffee shop, and a mutual friend introduced us. You and I coming out of this, let's just call it the greater Bay Area of California, like we're within, spitting distance of Uber and Google and Apple and Palo Alto and all these crazy, OpenAI's headquarters, you name it. Most tech companies are headquartered within probably an hour of you and I. So for
Hmm.
me, I'm always like, I want to get in on the action, and just there's just so many tech opportunities, but none of them are focused towards the trades. So
Correct.
even not coming. So when we met, I jumped on it because I just was so excited. There was someone that was passionate, A, and B, had what I think is a great idea, focused on an industry that I really care and love. What was it that turned you towards the trades industry? And as 3 years in, how good or bad of a decision has that been going into the trades?
I still think it's a bad idea. Sometimes I have good days and bad days, but well, obviously that the conversation we had with my neighbors, but actually my dad was a painter growing up, so
Okay.
it's funny because all the stories that I'm hearing from like people like Mike Rowe, right? People from other influencers in the trades that are saying like, no, it's not a career that should be looked down upon, right? So
Mm-hmm.
my dad painted for 30, 40 plus years, and I remember I spent some summers obviously going out with him and doing the job. But it's like, no, I'm like, you're helping me now, but no, this is not what I want you to do, right? Like, there's no way you could be doing this job. We're paying for your education. Go do something else, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean I think just knowing about the trades and what I felt like there had to be a big. It was time for a disruption, right? It was time for a disruption as far as the connections between the customers and the consumers and the contractors. I felt like lead generation is archaic,
Yeah.
as far as the industry goes. And like once I started this idea, obviously I went back to people like you and asked for feedback. Like, are you using this? Are you using this company? Are you using this company? Where are you getting your customers from? And it's a wide range of between like lead generation, you know, reviews, ads, and things like that. But they're all the cost of customer acquisition is super high on all of those, right? Like trying to get one customer, some of these platforms you're competing against 10 other contractors in the same neighborhood. So it's very hard to, I guess, scale your business doing it that way, right? I mean, one
Yeah. It's
example
expensive.
is great is like, I don't know, Tommy Mello, right? Like he
Yeah.
spends
He's such pioneer.
he's he spends millions of dollars a month in leads, and that's how he generates his business. I'm just like, what about this? Like, what do you think about
Yeah.
this? And he's like, ooh, that might be something that I'd be interested in, right? Taking a look at. Um, so yeah, I mean, like, I felt like the is something that needed some disruption and some advanced technology, especially with the use of AI and things like that.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. Yeah.
because
It's
there's
well,
so many.
go
I was
ahead.
gonna say there's so many there's so many guys that are still pen to paper. Their
So I
database
was
is a
gonna say the same thing.
drawer file, right? So
It's like we've been using the phone and a piece of paper or a fancy piece of paper, call it an email, for what, 50 plus years, where like someone's pipe breaks, they call a plumber, someone answers the phone at the front desk, dispatches a tech out there, the tech fixes it, sends them an invoice. And for 50 plus years, that process has, yeah, there's some automation, there's some technology. Maybe we're emailing it instead of a post it note. But I'll tell you, more than 51% of plumbers out there and just all tradespeople are still using sticky notes and still
Sure.
using a physical piece of paper to hand to their technician and say, hey, go handle Justin's house. They got a leak under the house and there, it needs to be fixed. I want to just talk briefly about that process and how love your neighbor and what you're doing, Eugene, is streamlining that process, but also focusing on the front end of the funnel for contractors and making it
Sure.
easier for homeowners. So just give us a little more understanding and background of, what is the basis of what your technology does to help that lead generation and make it a frictionless experience on the customer.
So first of all, I'm not going to call my company a lead gen, right? That's
Yeah.
something that drives people away already, right? So the best way for contractors to get customer acquisition is referrals, right? That's the cheapest way to get it. That's the most comfortable way to get it, and obviously it creates so much less friction between the contractor and the customer, right? As far as price negotiation, I mean, you'll save so much time and money and energy just having a referral come through, right? And we're talking about a referral that's directly connected to the contractor that that person used. So
Right.
when you
Okay.
get
So
when you
just to clarify that, it's a referral from someone that you've already basically worked for.
correct.
Okay. Yep.
So in its current form of the way the app is set up right now, like I can go on there and your business is on our app and someone said, "Hey, who did your landscaping?" With one tap, literally, I can tap my entire contact list from my phone, and it'll send them the landing page of K&D Landscaping on our app. And then from there, you can actually take pictures and videos of what you need to get done and send the job request, and it'll go directly to K&D Landscaping. It's not, us as a company is not selling that lead to 10 other landscapers. It's going directly to you. We're just a link between the customer, the referral, and the contract.
And I love this because I think for most small businesses, and even large businesses for that matter, regional players, small or referrals from customers you've worked for is the main source of quality leads. You may get
Correct.
more phone calls from your Google ads if you're spending, like Tommy has millions of dollars a month, but the quality leads, and I'm sure Tommy would agree with this, comes from the customers you've already worked for, their neighbors, their friends, the parents that go to the same school as the kids. And together, like that network of referrals is how you grow your business in a small community. And I think a lot of us operate in these smaller communities. Like we're not necessarily operating in downtown San Francisco. We're operating just outside of that down in Monterey Bay. And let me tell you, like it's all referral based. And I'm sure it's same for
Correct.
Gilroy, Morgan Hill, and all these kind of subsets of the large cities across the nation. And we always preach to our team, like ask for referrals, ask for referrals. But when you when you get a referral, it's a little clunky of a process because someone's like, "Hey, who did your landscaping?" Oh, K and D did it. Oh, how do I get a hold of them? I just go to their website, like Google them or something, and you may not even know that that person was a referral. So what you're doing basically is you're offering up this very smooth process. So when someone says, "Hey, who did your landscaping?" you could basically send them a link through your app, and that person can book through your app to make that process easier on the
Correct.
person giving the referral.
Correct. And for the business owners that get those referrals can keep track of like their best customers who do refer, right? And the thing is, it's not, you're not forcing them to do a referral, right? Like, so 20
Yeah.
years in the financial world, like that's the basis of my business as well, right? Trying to get
Right.
referrals. So like just early in the business, like why didn't you get a referral? I didn't ask for a referral. It's very that that process is very awkward. Hey, did I do a good job? Then can you refer me, right? It's like, not only did you become a customer, now it's like, can you like tell
Yeah.
your friends, your family, and your neighbors to work with me as well? It's like, so
A lot of people don't feel comfortable asking for that
correct, correct.
as a salesperson.
But the thing is, if the thing is with the trades, if someone asks, hey, like if they come over to the house, who did the work,
Yeah.
right? Like I have you could you we've created like where you can have like your list of favorite contractors on the app where it's literally one tap and send.
That's that's exciting because what I'm picking up is we're able to now activate a customer to provide additional referrals. Like I'm reading this book called Fans First by Jesse Cole, the Savannah Bananas guy, the
Hmm.
yellow yellow tuxedo guy, and he talks about making your customers fans of your business, and I'm a huge believer in this. There's another book called Fandom, and the idea is that you activate your customer base to be fans of your business, but you have to give them an experience that's worth talking about.
Hmm.
And so in this way, we can basically activate our customer base to provide not one referral, but potentially dozens, right? By rewarding the customer when they
Correct.
give that referral.
So on that note, I'm gonna share with you, I guess something brief, like to make it a lot easier to get the referrals.
Okay.
So one of the things we realized just traveling across the country at trade shows and the contractors that are on our platform, they keep telling us like we have this customer base. We have a list of customers. We can just give that to you. Is there anything that you can do with this? Right? And we're just like, we're just thinking like, obviously we can do email blasts and all that stuff, but I wanted to turn it into something even more than that. And this is in process now as far as building up the technology. But what if there was a way like if I just found KND landscaping on my app and it said see job and then it takes you to a Google map of all the houses and all the buildings that you've done. And if you click on one of them, it shows you the before and after pictures.
That would be
So
cool.
now what we're doing this, and this is from straight from the people that from the private equity and the venture capital that we've been in the process of talking to raise our second round.
Yeah.
They're saying like you've mass produced neighborhood affiliated marketing. So now you can zoom in on a neighborhood, click on a house, and it'll tell you who did all the work with the before and after pictures.
Oh, wow. That's actually really cool. So it's going to be an interactive map you can actually click on and see little pins that basically pop up. I'm a big fan of dominating neighborhoods. Like I want to be the landscaper that does all the houses on the street.
Exactly, exactly.
So once you do
So
that, you'll have like proof in a way.
correct, correct. So
Huh.
now, like, one is the contractor. We're like, we did the last trade show in Austin and Dallas 2 months ago and a month ago, and we explained
Okay.
to them like, this is what's coming, and we have our backdrop and showing them like what it's gonna look like, and they're like, I'd pay $1,000 a month for that. I'd pay $2,000 a month for that, because now me as a homeowner, as a consumer, if I said I needed a landscaper and I go in my neighborhood and see who did really good work, and I click on it, it says K&D Landscaping, right? I'm gonna hire them right then and there,
Yeah. Oh
right?
yeah.
And the idea also, addition to that, is now if that person allowed you to have your work displayed on their house digitally, the idea is like whatever it is, you give them $50, you give them $100 just for that referral. Like all of that is automated. So now people are just trying to make money inside their own neighborhood by having their contractors listed. We called it kind of like a digital yard sign for all the people that have worked on this specific house.
I like that. I like that definition because we all know about yard signs. We see them. If our team is doing their job, they're putting them up. But at the end of the day, maybe you can leave your yard sign up for a week or two. But after 2 weeks, the clients usually call on to ask you to come remove it. So
Yeah.
you're able to leave this up in perpetuity because it's digital and
Hmm.
you access and see those yard signs through the LYN network. right? The
Yep.
love your neighbor network. That's awesome.
Yep. So that's
So,
where we're headed.
okay. And
So yeah, we're
I
working
want
on that right now.
that's exciting, man. That's exciting. I want to kind of like go into this a little bit and let's talk. I just want to talk, trades in general and where we're headed as an industry and
Hmm.
specifically in the home service industries. I mean, what are you seeing out there when you talk to contractors? A lot of people are saying that the fact that the older generation, the boomers and older are typically the guys that work on their own house. Like my dad has always mowed. We have 4 acres. He always takes care of it. He mows it. He takes care of his everything. Like I don't know if he's ever called anyone to come fix anything at the house other than maybe an electrician because we're like, dude, don't get shocked. But other than that, like he's always done it. And me, I'm more like, dude, I'm so busy. I travel everywhere. When I have an issue, I'm calling up my guy Bryce for plumbing. I'm calling my guy Damio for electricians. I got my guys for all the trades. Like, do you see with the younger generation becoming homeowners that they're outsourcing more of their home services compared to previous generations?
Absolutely. Like some of these guys can't even change their own light bulb in their house. Granted,
Yeah.
they're a little confusing now because they're not just screw on and screw off anymore, right? So yes, I mean, the younger generation is definitely realizing like my time and my worth is more valuable than me fixing this right now, right? Like I
Yeah.
could be doing so much more elsewhere than doing this. So not only do they like, I see a lot less shopping around too, and I don't know if that
Hmm.
falls for you too, but like people are like, I just need this done now, and I don't care how much it costs. Like that's the attitude. Like why like this whole instant gratification, right? It's like I
Yeah.
want my Starbucks now. I'm gonna I'm gonna DoorDash my Starbucks and pay $15 for my cup of coffee. Like I don't care how much it costs as long as it's being brought to me. So
Oh, you're so right.
we're in that phase of of using technology for instant gratification, right? So I mean, we were just talking about this a long time ago that these kids are never like I have a 7 year old. They're never going to understand even some of the stuff that we're using today. They're going to grow up and it's like, what is that? Like we went from like 8 track, right, record player
Yeah.
to where we're at now. So what's next? Like, what's the next wave of technology? Granted, it's AI, but I'm talking about just daily use, like drones
Yeah.
flying around with Starbucks cup and dropping it as soon as you tap. Like, I don't know.
It's
There's a
going
freaking
crazy.
espresso machine like in the air, right? Like,
Yeah, like it actually makes it on demand so you don't
correct.
have a cold coffee. I'll tell you so many times we're in a meeting and we're going late and it's coming up on lunchtime and I ask the team like, "Hey, who wants a DoorDash?" And I pull it up and dude, we'll spend like, there's 7 of us in the meeting. I'll drop $150 for lunch for everybody. And it's like a dasher tip and then the fee on top of it and then another delivery fee. You're into it like 40, $50 in fees. But you're paying for that convenience. And that if the convenience is there, we're going to take advantage of it. I think to your earlier point, I always hear you can either have it fast or you can have it cheap, but you can't have both. And so
Correct.
I do believe that the contractors who are able to act immediately and that there's a way to connect with contractors immediately, you can kind of name your price in a lot of ways for emergency type work because
Hmm.
but I'll even go further enough to say it's not even just emergency work. It's any type of work because once your garage door is not working, like you want to fix that. We've all had to like open and close the garage doors manually at times. You don't want to do that for weeks on end. You just want to get that done.
Sure.
So I totally think this is taking advantage of a niche that's picking up speed and it's basically creating more market share for home service contractors because the same amount of homes still exist, more are being built, but the same amount of homes are existing, yet there's more work that needs to be done because the new generation is coming in and yet frankly they don't know how to do a lot of stuff.
Correct. And I'll give you a prime example. Last year when we had that crazy heat, or 2 years ago when we had the crazy heat wave,
Mm-hmm.
um, the capacitor on my AC went out, and I remember like it. A lot of the ones in our neighborhood went out because we live in a planned community. All houses in this neighborhood, there's about
Yeah.
600 homes in our neighborhood that have been built within the 7 or 8, 9 years, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, when one thing breaks, it starts happening the entire neighborhood. So I remember, crap, it's 110 degrees outside, and my AC just went out. What am I gonna do? And I made like 10 phone calls, and everyone's like, I have no time to squeeze you in for like 2 weeks. I'm like, well, the heat wave is gone by then. Like, like, do I go stay in a hotel now? Like, this is getting ridiculous. So I see my neighbor has an HVAC guy at his house. So I just walk over. I'm like, hey, can you check my unit out? Like, being able to do that on an app basis to see like,
Yeah.
and this is another feature. Like, if you have someone going out to a neighborhood and they get notifications, hey, so and so's in a neighborhood. Would you like to get whatever unit, whatever thing checked out at that time? So my thing is I want to help more of the mom and pop small business contractors is to go into a day not having their calendar filled, but then having their calendar filled out on the job sites, right?
That's
Because then the
yeah.
notifications go out to the neighborhood saying, "Hey, so and so will be in your neighborhood at a certain time. Would you like to book a 30-minute appointment where they can come check that out?"
I love it. I love it because the mom and pops have such a difficult road ahead of them. They're competing with institutional money, private equity backed $1 billion roll up HVAC, plumbing, electrical companies. Like
Sure,
you go to the trade shows, so do I. I see these guys. I got a lot of respect for the big companies, but at the end of the day, the mom and pops are what built this industry. There are the people who are going to keep it going, and giving them a tool to have a fair fight, almost right. That's kind of like what I see this as is you're giving
sure,
them an opportunity to activate the referral base. And let's face it, if I'm a homeowner, I'd rather refer the mom and pop. I'd rather refer, Joe and Bob over here than ABC HVAC that is a national branded company. It's just I think innate in our
correct.
human behavior. So tell me a little bit more about that. How do you see the mom and pop type companies out competing the bigger brands utilizing a tool like your app?
One thing as far as using my app for these guys, because we'll have that data of all the jobs that they have done.
Okay.
Obviously, it'll also. I'm going on a different tangent, but I'll bring it back. But it'll help them keep track and monitor the valuation of their business because now they have proof of all the jobs that they've done and the possibility of others coming in through the neighborhood, from the neighborhoods that they've already created. So they have this tool that they can use if they obviously eventually if they exit the business and whatnot, right? But my thing is, your neighborhood, my neighborhood, we're always still trying to help the local contractors, right? Like,
Yeah.
because I feel like when money is transacted in the community, it stays in that community, and that's kind of the gist of like the name that we created for the app, which is Lynn, and the message of love your neighbor, especially in today's society, has to go out there, like just that message has to be spread in order for these communities to thrive, right? Like everyone, me growing up, like no one really talked to each other. No one really like said hi. Like no one knew who the other person was. Like last Halloween, like my kid's out there trick or treating, and he left his group, and then one of the neighbors called me, "Hey, your boy's out here by himself. Like, is he okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, he's fine. I'll just come get him." But I mean, I feel like that's what's missing. And again, private equity is, yeah, they're gobbling up a lot of these mom and pop shops, which is good that they're being able to now exit their business instead of just walk away because no one else wants it, right? That
Yeah,
they have
100%.
some intrinsic value, correct? There's some intrinsic value there. So, um, but again, the mom and pop shops and the small businesses is what drives this country. So I feel like we have to continue to support them. And I want to build an app where they can be thriving within the communities and where private equities can't even get into them, right? They're like, no, I don't want to work. Like, I'd rather work with Joe Smith Plumbing than Roto-Rooter per se, right? Like,
Yeah. I I love it. I think it's given them a fair fight. It's given them an opportunity to own a neighborhood. And to your point, it's giving them an opportunity to kind of create value. If they do decide to exit one day, they can go back and say, look at these 100 projects I've done over the course of the last couple years in these neighborhoods. We've got pictures. I've got activated fans of my business who are constantly referring work in. Like if a private equity company is looking at two HVAC companies to buy, and one is spending $10,000 a month on leads, and the other is spending $100 or $1,000 a month, like a fraction, but they have all these referrals pouring in. Private equity is going to go after the guys who have referrals and low ad spend but high revenue, versus the other company that's a strictly pay to play. So you're kind of almost giving them the opportunity to make this argument, like, hey, I'm more valuable in a sale or an exit because I have this referral engine that I built. And that exists today, right? Like people have referral engines. It's just clunky and hard to
right.
track. And I can say that from experience because we have a good referral engine at K&D, but I got to tell you, I can't name all the people that have referred us in the last 2 months and show you a list of those people. It'd be
Mm-hmm.
nice, and we try to track it. It's just not reason. It's just not feasible without
Sure.
technology.
But again, your business also cannot run without those referrals, right? It's like the
Nope.
catch 22 between the two, right?
Yeah. It's when you're small, it's easy. You can just call the people and say, hey, thanks for the referral. Let me know if you know anyone else. But as you get to you know 10, 12, 13 employees, it becomes a little harder to keep track of all those referrals, and you just get bogged down in the day to day.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think in terms going, just the industry going forward? We talked a little bit about AI. I mean, how do you think AI is going to impact and change the way we operate as a trades and home service industry?
So as far
That's
as the trade is concerned, and again, going back to like the trade shows that I've gone to,
right.
AI is going to make, I guess, your job easier, right? Like automate the estimation, the invoicing, the data entry and all that stuff. It'll make it super easy, right? Like there's one tool that I came across. It's for roofers, but they're trying to break away just from roofing, but for everything else is you can take a Google screenshot of the roof on Google Maps, and it's accurate to the inch
Wow.
of how many tiles and shingles and roofing stuff that, and it automatically generates an estimate of what the cost of that house will be to change the roof.
That's amazing.
So that's where we're going, right? Like if you took a picture of the house, like they'll tell you like how many gallons of paint you're going to need and how many hours is that. Like all that's going to be automated. But when it comes to the customer acquisition side, I don't know if you follow the news at all, but about 3 weeks ago, there was an integration between Shopify and OpenAI. So now
Tell
you
us
can
about that.
chat. Now you can chat on Chat GPT and be like, "Hey, I need a black T-shirt with this material, 70% whatever polyester, 30%
Yeah.
cotton, this size. Like this is my proportion." And Shopify will find it right for you,
Oh my
and then
gosh.
bring it to you, and just automatically to add to your cart and say, "This is what you're looking for the best price." So now you don't have to technically go to your Nike site, your Travis Matthew site, the Nordstrom, Macy's. You just type in on Shopify and it'll automatically find it for you, right?
Wow.
So
That's amazing.
with that being said, I don't know if you ever chat GPT like finding a contractor.
Oh yeah, I have. I'd search myself all the time to see how we come up in the algorithm.
So I did it too because after I saw the Shopify thing, and I said plumber or painter in my neighborhood, like who's the best, right? Answer number one: ask your neighbors.
Oh,
Answer
wow.
number two, yeah, answer number two, check Google reviews, Yelp reviews, etc. And three, ask your local hardware store.
Really?
So where this gets exciting for me is now we're gonna have that data where it's gonna hopefully say, according to Lynn, K&D Landscaping has done 10 jobs in your neighborhood. According to Lynn, ABC Painting has done 15 jobs. Would you like to look at what they've done? Like that's the answers that we want ChatGPT to give.
That's,
So
yeah, because you're,
now if we get all the customer data from all the contractors that are on our platform and put that out there, now we've captured that.
that's amazing. So you're basically giving ChatGPT a database to search, to pull from, and it's not a paid Google website or even a website. It's actually like you're activating the referral base, the reviews and everything else.
It's not even reviews. It's all
Okay.
based on merit and jobs you've done.
Yeah,
It
got it.
can't be manipulated. It can't be paid to be on top. This so and so has done 10 jobs. This plumbing company has done 8 jobs. Like, which you can select between these three. And the thing is, for me, obviously living in a planned community, is I'm going to go to the person that's done the most jobs in my neighborhood because all the houses are the same. So he's going to know what the insides look like. He's going to know like where everything is and everything is located. So it's going to be a lot easier for him to come to the same neighborhood and get that job done.
Well, for sure, they're going to be more efficient if they're doing your house and they just did the neighbor's house yesterday because they know, to your point, they know where everything is. They know the model number. Basically, everything's the same, at least for the first 10 to 15 years until they get
Correct.
swapped out. I think that's, you know what? That's such a good takeaway for the listeners is like people are using ChatGPT to search and find all levels of services, restaurants. I mean, we were in Florida and we used it to plan our whole trip. So wherever you're at, whatever trade you're in, I mean, ChatGPT is going to be a game changer, and Google's going to start
Mm-hmm.
to go away. I actually just heard Google for the first time ever had a reduced number of searches month over month for the first time since they started Google, which is like such a crazy stat, you know, because you imagine a business that every month for the entire like existence, you had more people coming to you forever. And then for the first time ever, it just happened, which means people are going to alternative sources like Grok, Gemini, and ChatGPT to search for everything they need: clothes,
Sure.
landscapers, plumbers. So, wow, that's pretty interesting. That's actually something I didn't even think of is how people are going to find contractors in the future.
Correct. And here's the other thing. It's now again going back to us collecting that data. Every time a house is bought or sold now, all that information is forever attached to that house,
Okay, that's interesting.
right? So now if I buy a house somewhere else, I can see who did the work on this house previously.
Yeah. So that's all going to live within the app, right? That's pretty cool. Hmm.
So that's why like I think these mom and pop shops can still survive because if they do a good job on one house, they'll be able to get the lifetime of that house and work on that house because now whoever lives in that house has that data.
I mean, it makes sense, right? If like you buy a house and the house had a new kitchen installed 3 years ago and the oven breaks, it sure would be nice to know who put the oven in, even if it's not under warranty, just simply because they're going to
Sure.
fix it in a much easier and faster fashion than someone who has no idea what's going on in that house. You learn the quirks of the house where the bones are buried and
Correct. There's so much data when it comes to buying a car,
oh,
right?
totally.
When the oil changes were done, when the tune-ups were done, has it been in an accident? Like, is the odometer right? Like all of that is recorded, but there's nothing like that for a house.
Ah, that's interesting. Yeah, no, there isn't. And yeah, that's the Carfax report, right? Get all the data.
So now if we can work with companies such as Zillow and Redfin, and if anyone's looking at houses, which they do, they don't shop for houses, right? They just see what the trends are and what's being remodeled and things like that,
Yeah.
and what the value is. It's like, well, you go through a picture and you're like, ooh, I like those cabinets, and it says whatever K&D cabinets, right? Like they did the work, so it's like, oh, I want that. Like
Oh, you can even get
yes.
in, yeah, in the Zillow when people are shopping for houses and they're like, "Oh, that
So
landscape's
we're
nice."
we're
Yeah.
the the data that we're gonna have is like we're gonna have so much available to the consumer to find contractors out there. Like it'll be a much easier process to find a contractor,
That is so
especially
awesome.
a good one and a local one, right? That like
Yeah.
that's the gist of everything.
Yeah, yeah, you want someone local, you want someone reputable who you know is going to do a good job. You don't want to change contractors midway through a job or get hit with change orders. I mean,
Or have a
so
contractor leave in the middle of the job.
that too.
Like I've seen that happen.
You're like, where'd he go? I mean, we're halfway done. Sadly enough, we do get some of those calls of people who are like, yeah, we're halfway done with our backyard, but our contractor basically disappeared and we need you to come fix it and finish it. And it's like, oh man, I don't love those jobs, but Eugene, how do people get a hold of you if they want to, demo or they want to learn more about Love Your Neighbor and the app that you built?
Yeah, I mean, so we're on the App Store, Google Play, and Apple App Store under Lyn App, Lynapp. If you find Love Your Neighbor, you'll find a bunch of other ones. But if you type in Lynapp, you should be able to find our app. My email address is elee@loveyourneighbor.biz, and that would be the best way to contact me. Um, Founder and CEO of the company. Right now, I pretty much outsource
Yeah.
everything, the engineering. I guess one of the good things going back to technology, like living here, there's so many people out there in my network that can help me, right, with this project. So it's been a blessing to have people like advise me and yeah, and help me
Yeah.
build this app as to whatever capabilities that we have going forward.
Yeah, it's exciting to see, and the journey's just begun. I mean, you're fully in startup mode, and I think the vision that you have and the mission you have to help connect neighbors and help the mom and pops thrive is awesome. I love it. It's big impact. So yeah, guys, if you want to reach out, go ahead and reach out Lee@loveyourneighbor.biz. You can find them in the App Store. And actually, you thanks for sharing your email. Not everyone does that. So I appreciate that. And that's a direct line to the founder and CEO of Lynn. All right, man. Well, hey, thanks for coming on. Thanks for sharing all this. We got to stay up to date because I know there's so much more in the pipeline on the product roadmap that we
Yeah, we haven't been able to talk, but like I'm sure from our last conversation in Atlanta, like there's big changes coming.
oh man, I know, and it's like it's exciting, and we probably don't want to spoil too many of the surprises here on the podcast, but all I got to say is there's new stuff coming down the pipe, and it's going to be amazing. Cool. Eugene, thank you so much for being on the podcast, man. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Hang out for just a sec.